Right, I thought we'd have a little look at producing and tying basic simple rigs. We're going to start off with a simple running LEGER rig, which is generally usable for just about most kinds of fishing. It's also least likely to tangle and snag up and end up losing kit. Your Portsmouth rigs, your Wessex rigs, your up and over and up and under rigs, and goodness knows what else for your serious match anglers. This is not what it's about. Loads of sites on those sort of rigs. I'm talking about you guys who just bought a basic rod and reel and want to go fishing and want to know how to tie your rigs. Now, I always do all my rigs by simply putting a clip on the end of my shock leader. All the rigs are complete. Take them out of the box, clip them on. That way I can have another baited rig hanging up on the rod rest. So if I get a good fish, I can wind in, unclip the rig I'm using, clip the fresh rod on, whack it out in the hopes I'll find the fish's mate in the same spot. This rig is basically used for most general fishing, and everyone's obsessed with catching bass, or sea bass as everyone's started calling it. We'll just point out that there is no such thing as sea bass anywhere in European waters. Sea bass, and I just read this because my Latin is not that good, is called Centropristis striatus, and that's only found in the Western Atlantic between Massachusetts and the Gulf of Mexico. Cracking fish is going to be about £3 and about 45 centimetres. European bass we get here is, and I'll read it again, Dicentrocarchus labrix. Probably didn't pronounce that right, never attended to my Latin at school, too busy looking out the window. Nice simple rigs to do to start with. Here we go. Right, to tie your basic rig you will need some line. It must be similar to your shock leader because it's got to take the same sort of weight. This is £50 breaking strain. I'm personally not convinced there are many people out there who could bust £50 line with a 6-ounce lead, and certainly not somebody who's rubbish caster like I am. You then need some what we call snood line, which is the hook link. This is a low memory line called Amnesia, the idea being that when it comes off the spool it doesn't coil up as badly as all these shock leads and general nylons. You will need some beads, some snap type swivels, hope you can see those, which is just a swivel with a clip on, some plain ordinary swivels, and some clippers. Start off by taking your rig body, whatever knot you find is your favourite knot. I always say the thicker the line the less turns you need. Doesn't do any harm to put a couple of extras in. Pull it tight. And as always, snip it off as close as you can get. Now you're going to want about 1 metre of this. Snip that off. Now there are on the market a lot of very fancy rig jigs, so you can make your rigs absolutely every single component the same length. Not convinced that for general purpose fishing, whether a rig or trace or a particular hook length is a couple of inches more or less longer or shorter going to make any difference whatsoever, but some people like it. Take that, slip the link on with the little snap, which is where you're going to hang your lead on. Put a bead on. The idea of the bead, you'll see in a second. Take your next swivel, which can be a little bit smaller. There's very few swivels of any size that you can actually see to tie, certainly I can see to tie, that's not going to be stronger than the line that you're pulling against. Again, whatever your favourite knot is, pull that up, snip it off. Time to test your knots is always now, not when you have a fish on. Now the idea of the bead is so as that swivel with the clip with the lead doesn't get trapped onto this swivel, it's just a buffer. And the end of that, Take your lighter line, always make your hook link the lightest part of any trace. What is going to snag up is your hook. All these rotten bottoms and variations so the lead will fall off were invented by lead moulders, so as you'll lose leads. The likelihood of a lead snagging up in most places, lead isn't going to snag up, it's a hook that's going to snag on just about anything that's there. Pull that up. Now, length on this, always rating for when you're bass fishing, which is what most people are obsessed with doing, is the rougher the sea, the longer the actual hook link. The idea being is you get the bait flopping about in the surf and acting more naturally. But you take just a hook link about that long, snip it off, then get your hooks. Don't get carried away with massive hook sizes. You can catch big fish on small hooks, doesn't work the other way round. Take your line. Again, whatever your favourite knot is. I tend to use blood knots on most stuff, or grinner knots, or uni knots, whatever you want to call them. You know, if I'm using low memory line, pull that up. Try not to get the hook slip and twangage out. Pull it tight. Make sure that's not going to slip. Trim it up nice and tidy. And there you have it, your basic running ledger rig. Weight goes on the clip, bait goes on the sharp bit, and if you want to keep it all nice and tidy, these little foam rings like that, put the swivel on, wrap it round, just keeps it all together, it's not tangled up. I see rigs stuffed in poly bags and sandwich bags and then spend half the time on the beach trying to untangle them. Shove the hook in like that, there you go, stick in your bag, basic simple rig.